good.
We online?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the south-afrifur podcast. We have the wonderful goodness me.
Honor.
The honor of having one of the voices of, one of the faces, one of the most amazing people on from the My Little Pony area. We've got Mr. Peter New, the voice of Big Macintosh. Welcome, Mr. Peter New.
I think I'm on the wrong cast here, gentlemen.
Why?
What?
Excuse me?
Peter New, right?
Actually, no. He was here, but he said something about, a pair of calipers and a blanket, and then he took off.
It must have been with his eyes.
Well, the funny thing about him, he actually doesn't have any.
Oh, well then.
That's why he's a voice actor, you see.
So, I'm assuming that we're speaking to whom?
No, this is Uncle Kage, by the way, filling in for Peter.
Okay. Guys, welcome to the south-afrifur podcast. We have the wonderful honor of listening to Mr. Uncle Kage, well known for his wine stream, well known for pretty much being the chairman of the Anthrocon convention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Convention.
For yes, down in I think it's Pittsburgh. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA.
There we go. Those of you guys listening, this has been a long time coming. We've been sort of alluding to it for I think the past month and a half now. So yeah, welcome to the south-afrifur podcast, along with my two co-hosts, Scratch and Unpoo is also back with us this evening.
Yeah, what's up?
Hello.
And we're very, very
Yes.
glad to have you on.
Yes, we are. It sounds like a Cartoon Network show. Why? That is bad. Why would somebody say that?
No, Mr. Uncle. It sounds like the name of like something on Cartoon Network.
Well, the Germans are always doing that, adding titles on top of things, Mr. Dr. Uncle Sam Conway, stuff like that.
Okay.
When is your next wine stream, if I might ask? Do you do it every end of the month? Because those are actually fun to watch.
Well, the next one is going to be slightly delayed until after Midwest Fur Fest for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that I was able to beg, cajole, and bribe the eminent Fox Moore to coming over here to the States and joining me on the wine stream. It'll be the second weekend of December.
Holy crap.
Okay, the musician.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, except, well, in this country, Guinness is not actually all that common. It's a bit expensive. I think he's going to drink me out of house and home, but it'll be worth it.
Okay, so he's a beer drinker and you're the wine drinker, right?
Absolutely.
I see.
So at least we won't
I
fight.
see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, you
that
could
is
always
a
just
benefit.
you could always just introduce him to some American microbreweries. He might like those.
I could do that. There's one, as a matter of fact, he might enjoy it. There's one around the corner called Fortnite. They like to think they're British.
See, here's the thing, right? Beer and wine sort of tasting and brewing and everything, it's not so far removed from one another. Not like just in the fermentation process, but like the different kinds of ingredients to use, the different styles of beer. Like it sort of has a parallel with wine making and tasting as well.
It's the same thing with whiskey
Yeah, I suppose.
and brandy and vodka.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can't really. Yeah, I can't. I don't think you can do too much with brandy. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yes, you can.
I don't know. I don't have a taste for. I didn't have the palate for brandy, I think.
Yeah, well, without Coke.
Yeah, without Coke. Obviously.
Now, Uncle Kage will kill me now because I'm drinking a fortified wine that is ridiculously sweet. From Cape
Yeah.
Town.
Yeah,
My arms aren't that long, so you're safe.
I will smack you through
But-
the internet.
Why? It's actually good. Very sweet
problem
and
with
it has
sweet
flavor.
things- It's going to give you a dreadful hangover if you get drunk on it. There's far too much sugar.
Yeah, way too much. Way
Well, I
too
mean,
much.
we've already spoken about my what do we call it? Card Bordeaux.
Yeah,
Yes.
card Bordeaux. That's a fancy name for box wine.
There we go. Nothing better than anything in a bag that looks like aluminium.
And if you're really drunk and you finish the bag, you can inflate it and it becomes a pillow.
No, I never thought of that.
Just a handy little survival tip.
How do you guys manage to get these guys in the United States? Is it sponsored by the listeners of the wine stream for the alcohol and to getting them there for the traveling costs, etc.?
Well, I have a Patreon. I figured I'd get like $50 a month or something silly like that, but people for some reason put money into the Patreon to watch me feed my face with alcohol and self-destruct my liver. I keep going until I throw up on my lap and fall out of camera range, and then that's the end of the stream. But the money from the Patreon does go to get plane tickets and entertainment expenses. If someone's here, I'm going to buy them dinner and stuff. Any that's left over, I will either spend on wine for me, thank you very much, or I do try to give as much as I can to the good folks who run Furstream, that is furstream.am, in the UK, because they do provide this service for free, and it's a lovely service, and I think they're well worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now on that same topic, the fact that people actually pay money into the Patreon to see the wine stream, for example, this is almost exactly the same concept that the story hour actually started. People wanted to see you talk. And that's actually why I'm going to move to the topic. How did the story hour actually begin?
It's still something of a mystery. I don't really understand the appeal of the story hour myself. I'm a creepy old guy who just keeps making noise with his face, and he slurs his words more and more, and something. I was at a furry convention back in the mid-1990s, and I was sitting in the lobby, and I had 1 or 2 or 50, you understand, and I was just telling someone some sort of tale. I don't even remember what it was. I think I was talking about my supervisor at the time, who was a dreadful woman. I couldn't stand her. And I think I was unloading, and I noticed as I was telling this dreadful tale, more and more people started just to sort of gather, standing about, staring at me. So I kept on going, added a flourish to it. I've always had a good, strong voice for the stage. And it kept on going, and I came to the end of the story, and everyone applauded. And I was looking around saying, my God, these people need to find something better to do. And well, there was a fellow, a furry artist by the name, Colin Crescenti, his name. He tugged on the sleeve of my lab coat, and he very playfully said, "Tell us another story, Uncle Kage." And that's where that moniker came from. Well, that was just in the lobby informally. After the convention, I got a call from the organizers asking me, would you come back next year and do that as an event? And I said, do what? Bitch about my job? And they said, yeah. I said, well, okay, if you want. Sure. And that started the whole thing.
Easiest $10 you ever made, huh?
Exactly.
And this was obviously before you were chairman of Anthrocon.
Oh, it was. It was. I was actually, I attended the first Albany Anthrocon in 1997. In 1998, I was invited to be guest of honor. I'd been invited to attend conventions. I'd never actually been a guest of honor before, and I was woohoo, wow. So 1998, I was guest of honor at this little convention in Albany called Albany Anthrocon, and I'm still not 100% 100% certain what happened. I don't remember what they said or did, but I went into the convention as guest of honor, and when I got home, I was chairman.
Wow.
It's true. I came home and I sat down and said, "Hey, I'm chairman." Wait.
That's a crazy promotion.
So I like to tell that story every year to Anthrocon's guests of honor, and then I lean meaningfully closer to them and say, "Watch your back."
Yeah, I think that is actually a very scary topic because you could just, if you're just funny enough and people actually start liking you, you might just become the convention owner. Then you have to be there every year.
Yeah, just do it near a bunch of curtains so you'd like disappear into the shadows afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall, there was one of our guests of honor, when I told him that story, he said, "So you're like the ferryman on the river Styx. If you can give the oar to someone else, you'll finally be allowed to die." And I said, "Yeah, very much so."
Is that the story of Charon? Like, if he gives the oar to someone else, he's allowed to cross himself?
Something like that.
Cool, okay.
Right, so Albany Anthicon started basically the first convention, and then when you walked out, you were chairman. That was actually very funny.
No, Albany Anthicon was actually the second convention in the States. I'd been going to the other one for a number of years before that. But, well, Albany Anthicon was very, very close to me. And when I took it over, I moved it down to Pennsylvania, which was my home state at the time. And we've been there ever since.
And before the Anthrocon thing, how did you actually find the fandom as a whole? Because I know I've heard something about being part of the sci-fi conventions back in those days, but how did the furry fandom start for you? Because we ask this question for practically almost every guest.
Now you've got a real old one. Well, here's what happened. I was at the World Science Fiction Convention, WorldCon, in Boston, Massachusetts, 1989. And WorldCon, at the time, for little sub-fandoms, they would offer fan tables. A free, not really a dealer table, just a little table you can sit and let people know, hey, there's actually a fandom for this sort of thing. Now, you must remember, this is the days before the internet really took off. So if you wanted to get word out there that we have a fan club or whatever, you went to the science fiction conventions and tried to get people's attention that way. There was a little table that had a sign on it that said, "Furry Fandom." And I'd never heard of that one. And I said, well, that's interesting. Let me go check that out. So I went up to this little table, and they had some artwork there and some stories. And it was, when I was thinking, furry, anthropomorphic animals, the traditional Wile E. Coyote, the Bugs Bunny, the funny animals we used to call them. Well, when I saw what they had on this table, I mean, wonderful stories, heroic tales of samurai drawn magnificently by very, very talented hands. It suddenly occurred to me, funny animals don't just have to be funny anymore. Well, in those days, there was a kind of proto-internet just starting. We had what we called news groups, if anybody remembers Usenet from way back then. Basically just glorified bulletin board posting service. And there was one called Alt-Fan-Furry. So I got on that one and started realizing that, like myself, older folk, professional folk, who liked cartoon characters. The people as grad students would race home to get to the television in time to see the cartoons in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And they were wonderful people. I enjoyed talking to them. But around about 1991, somebody pointed me to what was to become, I should say, the furry hangout on the internet for quite some time, a place called Furry Muck.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual role-playing environment. I was one of the first, I believe, 300 characters on there, and thousands followed. And it captivated me. This was a wonderful world. I started to meet some gloriously creative and imaginative people, and it was friendly, it was outgoing. It was not very long thereafter that I was told there actually is a furry convention. It's been running for about 3 years now, back then, in California. I went to that, and yeah, I was hooked. What could I say?
And so it begins.
That's how it begins.
Yeah.
So it begins. Okay.
I do have a question for you, though, from my side. Now, while you were still in, what was it, college?
Yes.
Ivik? I think he dropped out. This happens
While I was
sometimes.
still in college, there were no questions. I was in college in an era before questions were invented. The question mark only actually
Well,
came
any
to
case-
be in 1987, you know.
Sorry, Ivik, you dropped
So-
out for a little bit there.
Yeah, I know.
What was your question?
I think he's dropping out again.
No.
Goodness. Fucking hell.
This
Yeah,
Ivik.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, Ivik says, yeah, just pardon him for a few seconds. He's finally having.
He's
some connection.
smashing his key. He's smashing his keyboard now.
Yeah. I think he's close to just chucking his laptop across the room.
No, it doesn't work well if you do that, trust me.
Yeah, it never. What is it with people and breaking something even worse when it's not working? I've seen that happen before, like smash a laptop or something. Why?
Yeah. I don't get
By the way, just for giggles, while we're waiting for Ivy to come back, Yote Fox. Okay. I just want to see what happens.
Cool. No. he's gonna freak out. But yeah. Yeah. In the time before questions you mentioned, like I can't really fathom a time before the internet. Like you mentioned, use groups basically before the internet actually started up. Like that seems so far-fetched that the internet didn't exist back then. It's like
The
it's so
internet
ubiquitous
did
these
not
days.
exist.
I know it didn't exist, but it's weird. Like today, it's ubiquitous. You can't go anywhere without it.
Mm-hmm. We managed somehow. We managed to get along. Kids, if they didn't have the internet, we used to actually go outside and we would do
Yes.
things.
Blasphemy. But the sun is trying to kill you outside. Like if yeah. I keep quoting this. Like, if outside is so good, why do we spend the last 3,000 years perfecting inside?
Scratch, you're not that young. You had dial-up, and before dial-up, you had nothing, and you went outside.
Not really. I was not an outside kid.
Okay.
You're back. Yay.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Wonderful.
You were asking a question about college.
College, yeah.
From the days before
Yes,
questions.
yes, I was. I was going to ask. I mean, the thing is that he used to be part of a choir back in his college days.
Yes.
And I was wondering that is there a possibility? What is your range actually? Firstly,
My range is about from here to the refrigerator where the wine is.
okay, your vocal range would be.
Oh, my vocal range seems to have soured over the years. I sang baritone, and when they needed a tenor, they would occasionally tap me. I could occasionally fake being a tenor.
Okay, so which of the two songs would be better for you? Welcome to Joe's Apartment, or well, Memories.
Really?
I would have to get the words up in front of me, but Joe's Apartment, that would definitely be more a tenor because it's sung by cockroaches, you see, and they tend to have very high voices. It's a wonderful song. It starts out, "Welcome to Joe's Apartment. It's our apartment too. We've been around for 100 million years and we'll be here long after you."
Yay! I love that movie.
I did love that film.
Yep.
We normally don't get good singers like you on the podcast,
You didn't get
especially
one
when I
just now.
start
You had
singing.
me, for God's sake.
Those of you who were born after 1995, you need to have your head checked if you haven't watched this movie yet.
Yeah.
I'll sing you another song if you'd like. It's one that my mother used to sing to me as she was rocking me to sleep. Remember, I was born as the space age was coming into being, so... You're all alone and drifting in space without a suit or helmet. The vacuum makes your sinus explode. Pop goes an eardrum.
And you remember this? Or
Oh, yes,
did you just hear
yes.
it again?
Trust me, it's stuck with me all my life.
Well, I mean, your mother is still alive, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. She lives just down the lake.
So that would mean that she probably sings that to you any other night.
Well, actually, no. You see, I have an ideal setup here. My elderly parents moved to the current neighborhood I live in now in the state of North Carolina because they need someone to look after them, and I'm the one who wants to stay in the will. So I have an arrangement. They have a lovely little condominium down at the bottom of the hill. Mine is at the top of the hill. So if there is an emergency, if they need me, I can sprint down there in 60 seconds, but they can't make it up the hill to bother me.
Ah, smart man.
Ah. Fair point.
Although I would believe that it would be nice to have them sort of occasionally pop in and tuck you in if the wine stream went particularly far south.
I actually, I'll tell you a bit of a secret. I haven't actually told my mom about the wine streams.
Oops.
Because, well, I'm kind of afraid she'll show up and then I won't have any wine left.
Well, I mean, you had two there recently, and one of the questions that I do want to ask is, how did your relationship with two actually start?
My relationship with two is an absolutely beautiful friendship, and I am extremely proud to say that when I am on stage, I am at my best when I am sharing the stage with him. I believe we make an outstanding comedy duo. We are greater than the sum of our parts. I believe it was the year 2000 or thereabout, maybe even 1999. I don't remember what I had for breakfast. You're asking me to remember back then. But it was a Midwest Fur Fest. This tall, scrawny fellow came up and started talking to me. And that happens a lot. That's what I go to conventions for. People come up and talk to me. But it's well-spoken, and I enjoyed his company. He sort of shyly, nervously said to me that he was going to be doing a little bit of comedy there, and he was hopeful that I would attend and kind of let him know what I thought. Sure, why not? Yeah. So I went to this little show that he put on, and I still remember he got up on stage for about 2 minutes. You could tell he was nervous. He wasn't quite sure where to go. He was stumbling a bit, and I was sitting in my chair saying, "Oh, poor guy." But about at the 2-minute mark, he hit his stride. He slipped into it, and I was blown away. I said, "Damn, this kid's good." And I told him that afterward, and I asked him, I would love it if you would come to Anthrocon and do that. And we've really been the closest of friends ever since.
Huh.
That's awesome.
And he also goes to all
That's
these. He also attends almost. I know that you attend conventions all over the world, and he also actually goes to all these conventions. And you guys just run into each other, or is it an orchestrated event when you're going to do a panel together or something like that?
The answer is sort of. If I'm going to a convention and he's going to the same convention, we absolutely make sure that we know ahead of time, and we try to drop very, very quasi-subtle hints to the organizers that we would like to have stage time together. Both of us, we both have the same sort of, I don't know if it's a habit thing it's called. We don't ask to perform at conventions. We never say, hey, can I perform at your con? We wait until we are asked. We both have Southern heritage, and I think that modesty has been beaten into us since we were children. Mm-hmm. So, but if we're going to be there together, we do kind of try to be subtle and steer the people toward giving us time together. We don't do any sort of rehearsing. We don't talk about what we're going to do because we're at our best when we just ad-lib. We just get up on stage and do stuff.
Improvise.
Oh.
Yes.
Some people just have that gift.
Well, no, it's easy when you have enough alcohol. It's hard when you don't.
Well, I shall also tell you a secret. Of course, it's not going to be a terribly big secret because I'm telling it to however many people are listening. I'm actually going to be doing a very, very short, possibly wine stream that I'm only going to invite my Patreon patrons to because they're very, very kind people. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do it without having any wine.
Okay, so a wineless stream.
Exactly, a wineless stream. But again, that'll be just for patrons because, well, hey, they pay for it. They ought to get a little something special. But then again, it might suck. I don't know. I'm going to get up there and I'll be like, yeah, well, welcome to my thing that I do. And God damn, I hate me.
Wow.
Next, dead air.
Yeah, flabbergasted.
I'm trying to.
Point, apparently,
I'm trying to.
I'm just imagining Uncle Kage without wine.
Well, if you were one of my patrons, you would find out, wouldn't you? Subtle hint.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes, say no more.
See you, Gala.
Huh. How much is the lowest bid?
Oh, just $1,
South
which
African,
I believe is like 400,000.
Like dollar rates are low.
Yeah, dollars.
If it's $1, it's nothing. It's what? Our exchange rate is bad, but that's what? That's like 14 Rand. What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, 14 Rand off of your credit card.
No, but you put money into your credit card. Why do you want to make? You don't have to go into
credit card is empty.
You guys got it all wrong. If you pay with a credit card, the bank pays for you.
Mm-hmm.
The bank.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that story. I don't think that's a good story.
Okay.
For that matter, Scratch, YNAB is awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool.
You need a budget.
Yeah.
I want to ask a little bit about.
Responsible.
I want to ask a little bit about the question of Uncle Kage's thoughts about the South African community starting a furry convention. And
Sorry,
there it is.
There is the thought, and I knew that reaction was going to happen.
Nice.
But I know nobody. I've actually checked your panel where you said that you do not want to start a furry convention. You want somebody else to start.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that opinion, please?
Well, here's the thing.
More laughing?
To get a furry convention off the ground starting from zero, you need an infusion of money. Let's face it. A hotel is not going to give you space if you don't have credit. And you need to make sure you're going to make enough money that whoever fronts that cash is going to get it back.
Yes.
I don't recommend loan sharks. That's very dangerous. Also, trying to run an organization, even a small meet, people don't seem to understand just how much logistics is involved, how much planning, how many arguments you will get into. People who have said to me in the past, you know, I am going to start a furry convention, I've often said to them, don't even consider doing that if you're not willing to fire your best friend.
Oops.
Because if the convention takes off...
Scratch your fire.
Cool.
Yep, oh well, there you are. If the convention takes off, it will become a business. It has to. If you're going to be moving that much money, that much logistic, you reach a point where you can no longer run it like a bunch of happy fellas having a party. You simply have to make a business out of it.
Mm.
That is very true.
It's very true. I mean, like, the thing is that we've been trying for the past year just to get like the first legs on. Well, I mean, let's just say the front legs to crawl forward. At this point, it's been tough because a lot of people haven't had time to focus on it, and yeah. But I mean, like, we do understand, I think, to a large extent what we're getting ourselves into. I, for one, really enjoy the challenge.
Unrelated, he's a masochist.
Yeah. Actually, this is true.
Probably.
But keep it small. Do a picnic, do a bowling event, you know, rent a single, you know, function room in a hotel just for a meet and greet, just for a night. Work your way up to it. I have seen some folk, and it always ends in tears. They go in with grandiose plans. Oh, we're going to have 1,000 people our first year, and we're going to do this, and we're going to invite 6 luminary guests of honor. You are setting yourself up for an incredible fall if you do that.
Well,
yeah, no, I can believe that. That is actually, it's really pushing the envelope. It's you're not thinking right when you're doing something like that. I remember a phrase that you guys mentioned called the ball pit.
Yes, that's something of a trigger word to every convention organizer. There have been 3 conventions of late that are going down in history as the absolute finest lesson in what not to do. This convention was called DashCon, and there's still an argument over whether it was deliberate fraud or just people in over their heads. I don't know. I wasn't there. But DashCon overspent themselves. They had, as near as I can tell, they had not made a budget. And this is a common mistake. They've got thousands of dollars pouring in from registrations, and they get, you know, starry-eyed, and they say, we have all the money in the world. It's something very common with people who win lotteries. Someone will win $6 million at a lottery and run right out and spend $9 million. Well, that's what DashCon did, and they wound up deep in a hole with no money coming in, and the venue yelling for money, telling their guests who were supposed to have their expenses paid, you guys have to pay up or we're going to throw you out. In order to try to raise the money they needed, the organizers tried to have a whip round. And one of the things they offered as a diversion was they had made a ball pit. They had taken a child's inflatable swimming pool and filled it with plastic balls, and the idea is you could jump in and roll around and be silly, the sort of thing they have at fast food restaurants in this country. Well, what they were offering with a huge grin was, if you donate extra money, you'll get an extra hour in the ball pit.
Yeah. No.
Yes, give us $100, you can spend another hour in the ball pit. Somebody posted a picture of the ball pit, this sad little thing, barely 3 meters across, and it started losing air, so it was sagging, and oh dear. It was sort of a a visual metaphor for DashCon itself.
Yeah, I mean, in and of itself for DashCon, I mean, like, the thing is that there's another guy who had started a Kickstarter program on, he was trying to raise money to make potato salad, and eventually he had Potato Salad Con, or something of the like.
Because
but this guy adds something different. I actually read into that story about the potato salad. It is the way the internet works. He gained popularity because he created a Kickstarter saying that I'm going to make potato salad for the first time in my life. Right now, everybody that looked at it was like, this is ridiculous, but it's funny. Let's give him like $1 or something. And then he raised something like $62,000 to make his potato salad.
Yeah.
So he had to make something. He didn't expect that, and he had to do something. He said, okay, he's going to make a few potato salads, and he's going to bring people over to eat this potato salad. Yeah. But he states at the bottom there that it might not be that good because it's my first potato salad. That was the catch of the whole thing. So he did it, and I mean, that's the way the internet works. If you do something the first time and people are going to laugh, it's the same way like an internet meme works, a meme.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the funniest thing that you've seen, but some of them gain a lot of popularity, while some of them don't.
That potato salad thing was officially the point where Kickstarter jumped the shark for me. It's like, it was pretty legit up until that point, and then it just became a joke.
Yeah, I started a Kickstarter once.
Yeah, I remember.
It was horrifying.
Okay, so we will take Uncle.
Say again,
Ivik.
I don't know what that Kickstarter was for. You're being evasive.
What am I kickstarting for?
Yeah, what are you kickstarting for?
I was kickstarting to actually just pay for the 3 tests that I'd need to do if I needed to get into the University of Berkeley for my master's program.
That's such a sad Kickstarter. I mean, it is
such
so
a sad
Kickstarter.
I know, because I need, if I look at the 3 tests that I need to do, it costs about 10,000 Rand. It's about $700 otherwise, but yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, it's the GRE.
You market it in a way that it is really sad. You do a YouTube video where you're wearing torn clothes and you're like, you need this money. Then you're gonna get it.
No. Because firstly, I have internet. Why do I have torn clothes if I've got internet? Where did I go? The internet cafe?
Yes.
Everybody has internet these days.
Internet cafe, perfect.
They kicked me out of the internet cafe. Somebody else had to write it for me who had better clothes than I did. Wow. Yeah. No,
I'm just stating the example because that's something that I would obviously support.
Look,
but
it's a pipe dream. The thing is that I can't necessarily put it onto social media as much as I'd like to, because if my sister catches wind of it, then I don't know what the hell would happen then.
What's the worst could happen?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know. My dad would catch wind of it, and when he catches wind of it, I am screwed, because my dad's chidings are the worst chidings.
Yeah, your dad's not that bad.
Okay. Since we're on this topic, I am taking money from people to get myself into something that I should be working towards myself. That is what my dad would probably tell me, and by telling me that, I would be pretty much told something along the lines of, you don't know how to work for the money that you're actually earning.
Damn.
I
can understand why that is.
That is harsh, dude.
That's a dreadful thing. And on behalf of the entire audience listening to this podcast, let me just say to your dad, piss off, you fuck. There. Said it.
Wow.
Sorry, but
you have to take that recording that you did just now and also put it in your YouTube video.
Uncle Kage says to piss off.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
No, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. You have to use the proper psychology on old dad there, all right? Start a Kickstarter that says that that you want to get a you want to get like a penis transplant or something, and once you have that done, you want to get enough money up because you want to start a brothel of male prostitutes off on an island off the coast of Brazil, and let your dad find out about that. When he comes racing after you, say, "Actually, I'm trying to raise money for the tests."
There's a term for that, but yeah, I completely understand that.
Don't you call that? Isn't that called like the Kansas City Shuffle?
No,
Basically, yes.
Damn. Let's just make everything look a little like less horrible by comparison.
Bingo.
Yeah. A ruse. Have people look in one direction and then you're busy doing something completely different.
Yeah, but the concept is marketing as well. Is people that do marketing, they know human psychology a lot.
Yeah,
it's not just
you're talking to the person who loves great, now I can't even remember his name now. And somehow Kent Hovind is stuck in my head, and I do not want that name stuck in my head right now. Comedian, 1991, died of stomach cancer. Very, very well known in the 1980s, talked about something called, what was it, his devil character?
It's not Bill Hicks, is it?
Yes, Bill Hicks, that's the guy. So essentially, I follow Bill Hicks's perspectives when it comes to marketing. That's the reason why you guys are better suited to doing it.
Yeah, his perspective on marketing is much, much worse than anything. But it's the truth. Talking of comedians, and we have Uncle Kage here. If I'm not mistaken, you're a trained comedian.
Well, you are mistaken in that it's not correct to say that I'm a trained comedian. I was never trained for it. I'm an experienced comedian. I still consider myself an amateur.
All right, so there's no training or something involved. It was just the fact that you did the story hour and you were funny enough to be a comedian. Because it is funny to watch your story hour. Especially the conventional wipeouts, but yeah.
You're very kind to say so, but essentially I'm sure that any comic out there will tell you the same thing. The only training that I had was watching the great comics and seeing how they did it, and then trying it myself and seeing what worked and what didn't. It's a process. One doesn't jump out on stage and wow the audience without working their way up to it.
Try to be funny. When you're not inherently a funny person, that is a bad thing. I've seen that happen before on open mics.
Yeah, people just crash completely.
You know what's actually good training for that?
What?
Conflict management.
Conflict management.
Yeah,
actually, I can understand that.
Conflict management is actually a very, very good training for that because, I mean, the thing is that it helps you read the people. It helps you read as to whether a person doesn't necessarily find you funny or not, and whether you can change tack. And if you can change tack sort of on the fly, then you're good.
Yeah, I suppose. That's a good point. I never really did any like mediation or conflict management stuff in my life before, so at least
I had to work on a course like that. It was kind of funny.
Doc says we should. Yote says we need to elaborate on Leon Schuster.
Yeah, because
I don't think that we need to elaborate on Leon Schuster. I think he gets enough airtime as it is.
But we have a local
he's a
comic
South
that is
African
now.
comedian, but the thing is that he's slapstick comedy. He comes like his comedy comes directly out of the 1950s, including the 1990s fart jokes. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's really slapstick comedy. But then you get Trevor Noah that is hitting a big international market.
However, he doesn't necessarily do exactly what his predecessor actually did. Is that like when it comes to the comedy that his predecessor was talking about, is that he was constantly unabashed about his political statements, and the fact is that he was more. He had people get involved in politics by being funny about it. Trevor Noah doesn't necessarily get people involved, aside from the fact that he just lampoons every single politician that he sees. There's a massive difference.
Rightly so, though, because I mean, some of the shit that comes out of their mouth is absolutely ridiculous.
But the thing is that do you want people to get directly involved in politics in a way that it is... now this is going to be an interesting question. And Uncle Kage, I'll defer to you as an American, considering that this is American politics that we're talking about. But do you want people to get more directly involved in politics by making them mindful of the people around them as these are their mistakes, rather than this is why they're funny?
Sure. Give me a moment. Sorry, just
go.
opening my watch. Sorry, what was the question again?
We're talking about Trevor Noah, and he obviously picked up on your, what's it, the Tonight Show? Late Show?
Yeah.
Late Show? What was it called?
The Today Show.
One of those two. We got several of them.
The one, who was the predecessor, Scratch?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, yeah.
Oh, The Daily Show.
Daily Show.
Yeah, The Daily Show, yeah. Now, Trevor Noah obviously recently took over. I'm not sure, do you follow The Daily Show at all?
Well, I did when Jon Stewart was on it, and I guess I'm a purist. I sort of stopped watching when he left.
And now the question was, generally, I mean, with Jon Stewart, he brought politics into a light that made it funny because these were the people's mistakes, these were the things that they were making, these were the sort of like issues that he had with it, and he was a very, very big pioneer of that kind of perspective. However, the thing with Trevor Noah is because he's from, South Africa, he doesn't necessarily know politics as deeply, so at least in America. And at the end of the day, what he's actually doing is just lampooning them and making them really, really funny. And the question is, which would have been better?
Well, here's the thing. Lampooning politics doesn't take a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Politics is funny just on its own. Especially right now, if you look at the presidential race we're going through. I haven't seen Mr. Noah's material. I haven't seen him speak, so I don't know if I can really address the question.
Fair point.
Well, and again, the thing is that that is my this is a perspective. I've been reading up on a whole bunch of research bits on it. I've been following Jon Stewart for about a year now, and I've been looking at some of his stuff throughout the years. Whereas you look at Trevor Noah, and I'm not necessarily sure whether as a South African, and again, we're speaking about South Africans versus Americans to a small extent. But I mean, I read an article, and I think it was yesterday, where somebody actually said that, I mean, Trevor Noah isn't necessarily, carrying on with the spirit of what The Daily Show was about that Jon Stewart sort of built.
Well, that may well be. Jon Stewart made it an art form, the art form of the artificial satirical news broadcast. There was a while when if I wanted the news, I would turn on Jon Stewart because I think I got a much more honest evaluation of the world than anybody else gave me.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, the thing is that what we need is honesty, not necessarily lampooning of the people's, of an honest opinion.
My opinion regarding that is basically, what Jon Stewart did is made the news sort of accessible, and through comedy highlight the crazy shit that goes on that some people don't even care about because, well, it's news. It's just what politicians babbling on. By making fun of it, he brings it into light and sort of gets people to at least react to it in some way.
Yeah, there's obvious. yeah, there's obviously a balance between how good you actually present the stuff to the public. I mean, if I talk to about my work to somebody and I talk the way I talk at work, you won't pay attention for 2 minutes, right? But if you're a good enough speaker and you can actually get people's attention, then so there is obviously a balance. It's not just the one or the other. It's a balance between the two. Any public speaker would know this. Any guy that even does politics and speaks to the public even knows this. If you can explain something that is ridiculously complex to a crowd of people by a method that makes it really simple, you know what you're talking about. You understand what I mean?
I understand that, but here's the problem with American politics. Nobody is explaining anything.
Yeah.
This is something that I have noticed in the past 20 years. People will snidely say it's always been this way. No, it has not. I've been around. I know. It's only been in the last 20 years that we've seen this phenomenon show up where, okay, I have an opponent. The opponent has a different opinion from me. That makes him evil. That makes him the Antichrist. I am going to crusade against him. I am going to slander his character. I'm going to tell people he's a terrorist because he is obviously trying to destroy the nation.
Yes.
We didn't have that when I was a kid. You know, we had mudslinging, certainly, but that's become the norm in American politics. And quite frankly, I and most of the American people are just sick to death of it. So no, nobody's explaining anything. All they're doing is getting up there and screaming and shouting that my opponent, you used to eat puppies.
Yeah. But I don't think it's just a United States thing.
He forced you to eat puppies.
I don't think that's just a United States thing. I think that is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's especially with social media and stuff, getting involved in these type of things. It's everywhere that everybody is just screaming and shouting. Hate is more hate, and fans are more fans. Almost, you can.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
I mean,
Oh, speaking of ridiculous, by the way, there was a question just briefly from Scratch. A tit snake is a snake with tits. I'm sorry, continue.
Okay.
What?
Cool. Thank you.
Fair enough. At the end of the day, and now to bring this into sort of I guess, if I'm going to have to say this, a perspective, considering that this is actually a sort of a furry perspective, I guess. And the thing is that, in the same way, we tend to fight so hard against people who maybe inherently don't necessarily like us. And the thing is that, and it's the people that sit there and go, oh, you're just hating, oh, like old grumpy person from the lower Midwest. And it just gets annoying when you have to hear that every single time, instead of somebody just say, look, if you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. End of story. I mean, the thing is that, at the end of the day, and it's something that, and I mean, I'm a big fan of Bernie Sanders, as people might have found out on the chat itself. But the thing is that, it's the one thing that he's been saying that has been one of the most constant things that he's been saying, is that why do we need to focus on these things when we need to focus on policy, when we need to focus on, what is the best way to move forward? And at the end of the day, we're not doing ourselves any favor by talking to, I don't know, random people and saying, just randomly mentioning a specific word or this or that or the other thing and say, yes, this is part of whatever.
We're talking about
then people are just going to go, oh, cool, I'm going to latch onto that because that's exactly what everybody else does, because people have become sheep because of the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, people became sheep long before the internet, believe me. The internet just made it an art.
It's just easier to find your own echo chamber on the internet. Or an echo chamber for your opinion.
Yeah.
Talking of that and the people's perspective, Anthrocon 2015, this year's Anthrocon, Uncle Kage orchestrated the first parade that was held outdoors for the city of Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
The first furry parade for the city of Pittsburgh. Not the first outdoor fursuit parade, but the first one in our city.
The first one in that city, yes. And the reaction of that is always, how was the reaction on that? Because, I mean, the city of Pittsburgh obviously get a little bit of income when you guys are there.
The city of Pittsburgh does get a metric ton of money when Anthrocon shows up, but there is still a genuine affection there. The people of Pittsburgh have embraced Anthrocon and have embraced furries. They think it's fun. We really were not sure what to expect when we're putting the parade outside. We were a little bit nervous. But according to the city's official estimates, about 5,000 people came down, almost as many people as we had at the convention. They came down just to watch the fursuits go by. The people who came down, they didn't care about the money. They didn't see what we're donating to they just thought it was fun and came down to see. And everybody had a good time. If we want to focus on the monetary gain from that, the 3 local bars threw their doors open, and those 5,000 people descended upon them like a plague of locusts, and much jollity was had by all.
That's really awesome. Like, that is so cool that Pittsburgh is just like sort of embracing this with open arms, because it's happening year on year. But the fact that everyone sort of came out in droves to see the parade, that's cool.
Look, I mean, go.
Well, I was going to say it has a beneficial effect. We generally don't get what people call haters and stuff. We really don't have that. The people of Pittsburgh like having us there, and if there's someone there who doesn't like having us there, the entire city sort of glowers at them, makes them go away. True, about 8 years ago, we had some kids showed up. They thought they were going to have a protest. They were these, what do they call them, 4chan kids with the wigs. I can't remember. Well, they were, we're going to protest after. We're going to have a protest. We're going to have a protest. So about 3 of them showed up, and it was raining. It was a cold, rainy, miserable day, and I was looking outside, and I saw these poor boys out there standing in the rain, sodden wet, shivering. So I grabbed my operations director, and we borrowed 2 big umbrellas from the hotel, and we went out and we held the umbrellas over them so they wouldn't catch cold.
Which is like a slap in their faces when they see that, because it's exactly the opposite of what they're trying to show.
Look, I mean, in that same sense, I mean, you have Anthrocon doing what it has done in 2015, and then from 2014 moving on to 2015, you're looking at Oaklacon and what had happened there. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can't necessarily look. It was illegal, but the thing is that you can't do what the people did there to Oaklacon, in as much as that. I mean, you're looking at a group of people who are bringing back something like, what was it, a third of the entire sort of town's revenue year by year.
I really can't speak to what happened at Oaklacon or other conventions. These things do happen. And the only thing as an organizer we can do is tell people ahead of time, please do not do that. And if they do it, we have to react to it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that Anthrocon is in a fairly solid position because, 1, we do have a very good relationship with the city of Pittsburgh, and 2, it is rumored primarily, but also probably not too far from the truth, that if someone were to do that at Anthrocon, I would be displeased with them.
By the way, guys,
to put it
that's
lightly
listening.
or mildly, or
Yeah.
By the way, to the people that are listening, is there's a reason why you do not upset Uncle Kage.
There are many reasons.
Kage wrath is possibly worse wrath than my dad wrath.
Oh, come now. I have never, 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 never struck another human being in a fashion that could be proven.
My father. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, maybe we should move along. Next question, please.
Once again, like the thing is that you have many wine bottles, empty ones, that you can throw at people.
Oh, no. We recycle them. They go into the recycle bin as soon as they're empty, so I don't actually have them. I have to throw the full ones.
Huh.
Throw the full
That
ones.
just sounds like a waste of good wine. Or even bad wine. It's just a waste
You
of
haven't
wine.
seen some of the wine I get at cons. I mean, thank you very much. It's a lovely gift. You're so sweet. I'm going to throw this at someone.
Talking again of the wine, have you ever drank Cape Town's wine? Seeing that we have one of the wine capitals here in the world.
Actually, I'm going to be very, very honest. I do not believe I have ever tasted South African wine.
We are
Would
shipping
you like a list?
We are shipping
List
you
of like
some
wines
wine.
that you should try.
Now I'm curious.
Everybody-
Okay.
We need to gain money to ship Uncle Kage some wine, but the thing is, it needs
No,
to
I'm
be
pretty sure
white.
that there is a wine place in South Africa. I mean, in America that you can find South African wine from. Scratch, where did your sister used to work?
Swartland wine farms, but that's mostly red wines. We'll poll and find some good wine, and I will personally make sure it gets shipped to you.
Well, let's remember the baseline that we're looking for. I am fond of semi-dry whites, Rieslings, Gewürztraminers, things like that. I cannot abide dry whites, and for God's sake, don't oak them. If I want to chew on a pencil, I'll chew on a pencil. And I absolutely do not drink reds. Reds are far too tannic for me. I really cannot stand the astringency on the tongue. It's a bitterness that's offensive to me. Also, if you get drunk on a red and spill it on a white lab coat, it's going to show up. A white will just disappear.
See, I knew there was a practical reason for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I know a very nice Gewürz that I'll send you.
The lab
Well, there you go.
coat. That's why. The lab coat. That's why Uncle Kage doesn't drink red wine and taste bud. Let's not go there. It's the lab coat.
Well, I mean, the thing is that as a cockroach, and considering that if everybody looks at your icon, which is actually on the first stream right now, if it was red, you would come out with a relatively nice sort of magenta lab coat.
But I would have to completely saturate it, and that would waste an awful lot of wine.
You could suck it off.
Sorry. What? What did you say?
Out of the lab coat. No, that's horrible.
Hey. I'm sorry. I thought that's moving right along. Then,
But see,
how's the weather in South Africa today, by the way?
it's just threatening to rain the whole time.
Oh, dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. Next question, then.
See, here's the thing, right? If you consume a red wine and it does spill onto that lab coat, it could be sort of a souvenir of every con wine spill, and this thing could just become like a smock of wine stains that travels from con to con.
No.
It would make me look slovenly. And okay, if you look at the, I think that on first stream right now, I do not like to look slovenly. I've always believed that clothes make the man.
Yes.
So I always try to look my best when I can.
I'm assuming you're saying that sitting in your PJs in front of your PC or something.
Well, right now I'm actually not wearing any clothing, but you guys said I didn't have to have the camera on, so it's not a problem.
Fair point. Fair point. We did say that.
I would love to say something about somebody who sings for a metal band that I've said before, but I'm not going to say that. Thank you very much.
I know who
Rob
you're talking
Halford,
about.
people. Thank you very much. Moving on. But look, the thing is that like I can just imagine like what Scratch actually said. Like every single like wine spill, like just above it in like permanent marker, just going like Anthrocon 2015, Califer 2016, Euro for instance, and like these little red wine spots everywhere. That'd be awesome.
Bumped into by telephone, Anthrocon
The
2015.
guy doesn't like red wine. Why are you guys?
I'm just saying it might, I know. I'm just saying it might make for an interesting look. Just saying.
Look, honestly, you don't have to look, Uncle Kage, you do not have to drink the wine, you just have to spill it a little bit on your wine coat. Or
Wine
make
coat.
sure that you bump into somebody with
My
a
wine.
red
Did you call it a
glass.
wine coat? You did call it a wine coat, didn't you?
You did call it a wine coat.
You called it a wine
Well-
coat.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I do have it dry cleaned after every single convention. Now, over time, those stains will come out. In order to maintain them, I would have to not clean the coat, and that is a furry stereotype I try to avoid.
Good point. Very good
It's
point.
just the coat.
It's a lab coat and it looks professional.
Yeah,
See?
but I understand what he says. Like, if he doesn't wash that thing, it'll eventually start smelling like, someone.
Less than a rose.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's call it someone spilling wine in the inside of a car on a hot day, kind of thing.
You.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I know a person who broke a bottle of whiskey in her car once.
Ah, it's a waste. That's a shame.
Well, I'm pretty sure that every single time she got pulled over by a cop, they thought they were drinking.
But that is a shame.
Okay, but
There's
we
two
need to
other
organize to get.
Two other
Yeah,
factors
uh,
that I have to make sure you
So,
understand.
Scratch, you're organizing wine to Uncle Kage.
Yeah.
Wait, I think Ivik is lagged a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Semi-sweet
think
white,
it's very
correct?
possible.
Semi-sweet, got it.
Semi-sweet white's correct, Uncle?
Rieslings, that sort of sweet levels. Rieslings, Gewürztraminer, Müller Torgau.
Okay. I don't know that last one, but I will find.
We need to do our research.
Yeah.
It's very popular in Eastern Europe, Switzerland, former East Germany, Poland, that sort of area.
Scratch, I think
Now-
we should find our best South African wine and do that.
Yes, we shall. We shall.
I don't think, like, I mean, European wines aside, woo, European wines. Yeah. That's actually an interesting thing about wine, Uncle Kage. In South Africa, European wines now, if you look at European wines can have extremely amazing years. Some of the best wine comes from there. However, when people actually taste, say, European wine versus South African wine, you'll say that the best year of European wine, absolutely amazing, blows everybody out of the water. South African wine will always remain just great. Specifically because our climate doesn't change as much as the Europeans' sort of climates do. So our wine is generally just like on a level of, we have very good wine throughout year by year by year by year by year. There's never a year that South Africa will actually release a wine that is terrible.
If they do,
which
it
you'll
becomes
get.
Tassenberg.
Which, exactly. No. Tassenberg is not a wine that is created. It is a wine that is
Yeah, it's a good
mass
wine runnel.
produced out of the back end of every single barrel from like several like different wine farms.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
worse
it's
than the
over
United
there, and
States
then
type of fortified wine, is our Tassenberg, which is box white wine, but it's cheap.
Tassenberg is not white.
Tassenberg red wine tastes like feet.
Oh, sorry, red wine.
Yeah,
It tastes like feet.
It's gross. Like I
It is.
exclusively use it
It's
for
either
glue
that
wine.
or mushrooms.
No, I exclusively use Tassenberg for glue wine and nothing else.
Fair point.
Now just stick to the whites, gent. The semi-sweet whites, the Rieslings, I find them excruciatingly good. Lekker, I believe you say.
Yay!
Lekker, yes, I wanted to ask lekker. It means Scratch, help me. It means tasty.
Direct,
Awesome.
yeah, direct translation is like tasty, but it also just means like, yeah, awesome. Mwah.
That thing. I can't do that. Click. I can do that.
Nom.
What?
Nom, nom. That's
Nah.
that.
Okay.
Next.
No.
So, what
Is
are
it
the
only
things
the
that
free
we do
fandom that uses... Oh, sorry, Ivik.
No,
Go on.
for it. Go.
Is it only the free fandom that uses that? Nom, 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 nom.
No.
Actually,
No.
yes. Big Blue Fox.
Who?
Big Blue Fox.
Big Blue
BBF
Fox.
in German.
Oh.
He's known. He taught me that the expression in German is Norm. You cannot say Nam in German. It's Norm. So Big Blue Fox will eat a sandwich and he'll say Nom nom nom.
Yeah, that's the way we do it.
Yeah.
Nom,
Nom nom nom.
Nom,
Yeah,
nom,
but I
nom.
heard too says nam, nam.
Yeah.
What?
It's very
Yeah, but-
American to say Nam, N-A-H-M, Nam, Nam, Nam. But over in the rest of the world it says Nom nom nom.
And I'm pretty sure that cats go nyam nyam nyam.
No cats go meow. I'm sorry.
Fair
Yeah.
point. Um,
Actually,
one of the
cats-
questions that I actually wanted to ask is,
Oh.
I mean, throughout the many years that you've actually sort of been the chairman for Anthrocon, I mean, could you call them the base, the medium amount or the medium type of person that would actually go there, has that changed from the beginning to now? I mean, obviously you've got far more of a specific group of people, but I mean, like, has the thought pattern
Public
behind
relations.
what? Hey?
I'm not
You're
sure if I
talking about
follow.
public
I'm sorry. What were you
relations.
asking? You mean in terms of media relations?
No, in terms of what people consider to be furry, has that sort of changed from, say, the mid-90s up until now? The way that people sort of acted out, the way that people express themselves, I guess.
So the people inside the fandom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really. Not really. To be a furry is pretty much now what it was then. We have quite a few more fursuits now. The fandom has become quite centered around fursuits. Whereas even 10 years ago, I would be surprised if there were a total of 50 fursuits in the entire fandom.
In the entire fandom or like at a con?
Well, at the
No.
time, when Anthrocon was running as about 2,000 people, we had about 50 fursuits. And they were, if you look at the fursuits too, they really weren't big fursuit makers back then.
Yeah.
In the past 10 years, we've created our own economy. We've created a profession. We now have the fursuit builder who does it professionally, does it for a living. Back then we didn't. The fursuits had a tendency to look somewhat slapdash, except for the ones that were made by the few professional costumers at the time. Lance Ikagawa comes to mind, of course. He was the premier fursuit maker at one time. If you wanted a fursuit, you went to Lance.
Fair point.
I do
But
have a question.
that is actually something that always considers me as the fursuiting thing has gone up, right? So now when we look at, especially I'm talking about Midwest Fur Fest, they have a very big, a very strange ratio with the attendance count and the fursuiter count, which it's almost like half the furries that are there are in fursuit. But, well, not too sure about the actual ratio, but I heard where somebody said that there's a lot of fursuiters compared to the amount of people that are there. And if you consider that, it's always the face of the fandom, fursuits. That's what people immediately think when they hear the fandom's name or the furry thing. While at the back end, the art lies, but when you're inside it, sometimes the art is actually in front, and the fursuits are guys that go to conventions. Do you understand what I mean? Do you guys understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
Yeah.
What is the so obviously to have the face of the fandom, that fursuit thing. If you have companies that these guys that builds these professional suits, they are actually working into creating a name for the fandom, while the art is actually our main concern, many furries' main concern, but it's not the ultimate concern. Do you understand? So
I do understand.
it's a weird
We have
concept, being
evolved from.
inside and outside of it.
We started out as a very art-centric fandom. It was all based around the art. The fursuits really have drawn a lot of that attention, not just externally, but also internally. I don't think we are as completely art-centric as we used to be, because there are now some people who, are there primarily for the fursuits.
Yeah.
And you are correct. The public image is very, very drawn to the fursuit because that's what's going to get the attention. And in a way, it contributes to one of the biggest misconceptions about the fandom that I'm constantly battling against, is that a furry convention is a place where people wear cartoon animal costumes, because that's all the public ever sees.
Yeah.
And I wish I had a rant for every single time somebody on our message board has said, I want to go to Anthrocon, but I don't have a fursuit. I could retire.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because that is sort of what the public sees, but also it comes down to, like, in art, everything is like, if it's drawn or written or composed or anything like that, it's not sort of made manifest as much as something like a fursuit is. Like, it is as close to the real thing as I suppose you can get in many cases. And I think that's also sort of like, that is almost the most extreme version of the furry fandom, and that is what gets put front and center in the media spotlight.
I won't say that. It's just I won't actually say it's because it's like the most extreme or something. It's because it's like the most visually available for the public. You understand?
Yeah, that's a better summary.
Yeah, because we are starting to get a couple of fursuiters around here, and it's well, we had fursuiters like some of the guys back even before I joined the forum, but it's starting to become a massive drive for the people to get these things here right when our currency is so weak and we don't have the money for it. But
it's one of the reasons why we need to have an inside job, I guess. I mean, for those of you who are listening who are from South Africa, one of the things that I'd like to say is that, like, you want to, if you're a marketer or anything along the lines of that, there is a massive untapped market here that requires fursuits at South African prices. I mean, you want to look at, you look at some of the best fursuiters or the best fursuits out there, you're looking at about maybe 10K in South African rand, and that's a large amount of money. That's a paycheck to a lot of people. And frankly, that's actually a paycheck to a lot of people in the upper echelon, for that matter. I mean,
I won't say the market.
Look, the thing is that consider. I mean, like 500 rand. $500 for, say, the cheaper fursuits, and these are people that are starting out that are relatively good at what they're doing. Say Dalmi, you remember Dalmi? I mean, his prices were $500 for a fursuit, and the thing is that $500 for a fursuit translates to about 7,000 rand now. That's absolutely, that's who can pay for that? That's half of a paycheck. That is what you would pay for rent on a monthly basis.
At Uncle Kage, I've recently been to a technology forum thing, and they're all aware that I'm part of this fandom, and they ask me how much does these things actually cost. I've never seen open mouths like that before in my life. When I said, you can easily pay $2,500 for a fursuit. It's not even
$3,500 if you wanted to.
and more. It depends on who's creating it and what you're doing. And all of a sudden, everybody is just like, no way. And then I say, well, it's an art form. These guys are doing art. They're not making these things on bulk. That's why it is the way it is. But yeah, no. That's a funny thing in South Africa is that we just can't get them here. And due to duty fees and tax and all that stuff that goes on top of that, you end up paying more than 50,000 rand for a fursuit just to get it here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you produce clothing at a specific amount of money, and the thing is that it requires a lot less work, obviously, because factories exist, and sometimes for different producers,
anything that is
cheap Chinese labor also exists, and then they get to go and, oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, Uncle Kage, correct me if I'm wrong, the gap in your on your side of things is one of the less marketed, well, not necessarily saying marketed, but I mean in comparison to something like Levi jeans, it doesn't cost as much to go to the Gap than it does to to go to Levi.
I'm not sure if the Gap is still in business. I've not seen them for a while, but I understand what you mean. The label that's on it is 98% of what you're paying for.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is that for the Gap, it's not necessarily as expensive in America. Now, I mean, if you look at if you look from America, maybe they're not necessarily in business there, but they're in business internationally, and they rival prices to Levi in South Africa. There are Gap stores out here now that are selling things at far more heavy prices than, say, I would buy a pair of Levi jeans for.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the label and I think textile imports as well, because there is an enormous markup on textiles going through customs in this country.
Scratch, can I put this out there? 8,000 rand for a denim jacket.
Jesus Christ.
So this is obviously why we're getting a lot of the people inside the fandom and the local community, actually quite a lot of the people. I mean, 1 out of every 10 people, 20 people that I've met, they want to build their own things, and they have started and actually done it. So that is what actually, it's sort of, you can do that. I mean, that's where the art lies. I mean, do it yourself if it's going to be a problem. But I know that a lot of the people, they want that type of thing, they can't build it, and they want that type of thing, and they can't build it. But it's just the way it works. You can try to make it. You can actually impress yourself by doing it. That's why I have Frankie. That's why I experiment around with him. I took a white fox head and I made it black. No, I made it red. Sorry.
Yeah, red.
Red, not black.
Black. Oh. So you're not black anymore.
No, I am.
No, that was Frankie.
That was Frankie. It's an experiment. Because it just shows that it's that bad at the moment how to get these stuff internationally here. The people just can't afford it. It's literally so bad that it's ridiculous. But it's not because the prices are so high. It's because of tax and our exchange rate, etc. That's the real reason behind it. And in the last 3 years, our exchange rate has dropped phenomenally fast. But I'm not complaining. We're still South African, so we need to be optimistic, the way people would say.
And you know what? I'm gonna move to a specific point here in respect for
goddamn roboting voice again.
And in respect to South Africa, I think. Am I roboting? Seriously?
A little bit, but you're
okay,
back now. You're back.
Am I back? Back properly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I would really just like to sort of say something about the South African fandom. Maybe get some feedback from Uncle Kage, because he hasn't spoken in a while, apparently.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. He's listening. He's listening to our stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to interrupt.
One of the things that I want to say to Uncle Kage is that, like, one of the most interesting things that I've noticed internally from the fandom is that we're heavily, and I mean, Unpu's side. Not necessarily just the side. There are many people who think like Unpu does, but we we push ourselves very hard to be part of something that is outside of what we enjoy. I'm not even sure no, I don't even think that there's anything listening. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Phrase your words, we're listening.
Yeah, you were
Okay,
just
great.
stumbling
Sorry,
over
I
your
can't
words.
hear anything because I've got my headphones on and I've got this on audio so that my flatmate can hear. So I can't necessarily hear if you guys dropped out or not. But yeah, like we are so tight-knit, I guess. I mean, you've heard we've got about maybe 250 active people within South African borders in one way or another. And one of the things is that, like, I mean, as much drama as there is within the community, as much difficulty as it is to find a mate for somebody or this or that, and then people break up and these things happen. But, you know, we're very, very hopeful, I think. It's important that happens, is that we're hopeful towards becoming something a lot more than what we actually are at times. And I think maybe it's a South African thing, because we tend to set our expectations a lot higher, specifically because we know that we can get there, even if it's going to take us a little bit longer than usual. And I know that a lot of the South African people within the furry community actually feel that. They feel that if there's a connection within this country, that we're able to move forward towards becoming something that is far more real to us, I guess. And I mean, a lot of us aren't lifestylers. I think all three of us, both Scratch, Anpu, and myself, we wouldn't necessarily call ourselves lifestylers. I mean, I probably RP a little bit more than others, but it's it's something that's important that we're actually able to do that we're able to cross borders, that we're able to extend ourselves to the point that we can actually come out as a community and say, hey, we are, South African, and not be ashamed about it. And I think that's for us.
And you know I do it.
That's terribly, terrible. Hey?
I do it, and you know I do it.
No, I know you do it, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, that's it. Like, all of us do it. Is that we never... I mean, 2008 was a wonderful year, I think, for South African furries, in that there was a medium, an area that we immediately found, or many of us immediately found, but Scratch and I found it in 2008, 2009. And it was important that we were able to find that within the country, not without the country, that we were also going to be accepted at some point. And I think that for us, and now I'm going to come to the crux of my point, how important is it for people to belong to a community within the country that they stay, or even within the state that they stay?
That's a very good question. People do like to get together. They like to have a local community. I'm perhaps not the one to ask because I run an extremely cosmopolitan organization. People come from all over the world. But if you look here in the United States, every state, every town practically seems to have its little group of furries. This is human nature. You want to hang out with people who think the way you do. You want to be around people who share your interests.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can talk to them and have fun, like the same way I'm in the roller coaster community is. You want to talk to people that knows theme parks and theme park rides, right?
Exactly.
The same way with furries. So you have this thing that you can talk about with somebody else. So obviously you want to find friends in that thing.
Yes.
No.
So
that
it
makes
is
complete sense.
important. It is important. It's
Oh, absolutely.
if you just
Human
want to.
beings, let's face it, we are social animals. That we are born to be social animals. We always seek out companionship. And one of the basic factors of seeking out companionship is seek out companionship with something that can be shared.
Yes.
I mean, and look, I mean, like Green Reaper, like Green Reaper says, you don't have to feel like you have to be social within the community. I mean, you can enjoy the art, you can enjoy the fursuits, you can do that all on your own. That's absolutely fine. I mean, but the very fact is that if you meet one person, if you meet two people, if you meet three people, and you like being in contact with them on Skype or WhatsApp or whatever medium you want to be on, it's important that we're actually able to communicate. It's the only way that we can necessarily find people who are like us, because at the end of the day, many of us sort of stray away from face-to-face normal conversation, because normal conversation doesn't necessarily interest us as much.
No, normal conversation interests us just as much. Well, it depends on what you define as normal. I've never been in a normal conversation in my
Normal
life.
is talking about the weather on a day-to-day basis. Normal is talking about
What if I talk
somebody ate
about
for
abnormal
lunch.
weather?
That's silly.
What if I talk
I-
about abnormal weather, like the weather that we're having at the moment? It's abnormal weather.
If talking about
I'd rather talk about the weather as a political perspective. That's abnormal for
I'm
me.
joking, I'm
if
joking,
small
I'm
talk
joking.
is the norm, then just cut me out. I cannot do small talk.
Exactly. I can't do small talk either. Small talk is an absolutely silly thing. Oh, what did you do today? I ate a sandwich.
That
That's
sounds
like
like Facebook and Twitter, actually.
It's
But
Twitter,
that's
yes.
exactly it. That's what social media does to people.
Hashtag bagel, hashtag blessed.
Well, we're a small community, and I think what Ivik is getting to is that the fact that we're really closely, we're a real close community. We almost know everybody, and that is the thing. Is it's this close community. So obviously, when there is something that's going to upset one person or another person, there's going to be a lot of, we know the word, and and he's asking how important it is to actually stay inside this tiny community, and I believe that it's very important. It's that is what makes you. You need to be proud that you're from this country. You cannot say, "Oh no, I'm a furry, but I tend to actually only talk to guys from the UK or whatnot." No, man, find them here. Then you can actually go to like a pub or a restaurant or something and have a chat with people. It's always better to meet people face to face and online, in my personal opinion. You get people's real characters that way.
Especially if you get them drunk.
Especially if you get them drunk. That's 100% true. I don't know what my character is, and I don't think anybody likes it.
You've seen
me
my
tell you,
character
fellas-
drunk. Apparently, it likes to roughhouse.
Let me tell you, fellas,
Sorry,
a
Uncle.
little story that goes back to about 7 years ago. I tend to bring this up when conversations like this arise. If you go to the Eurofurence message boards, when you log into the Eurofurence message board the first time, it asks you what country you're from. Since that is a very multinational organization, when you get on the message board, they'll put a little flag under your name so people can see where you are logging in from and see what your nationality is. And about 7 years ago, I was looking over the boards, and a posting came in with the flag of Israel. And the poster simply said, "Yo, Middle East fur here, is there anyone else?" And the immediate follow-up had the flag of Saudi Arabia saying, "Yeah, here I am." And it just floored me, because where else in the world but furry fandom are you going to see something like that with those two nationalities together?
Wow.
Exactly. That is the thing, is you'll get that.
Yeah.
One nationality that is still, in my opinion, there's a massive translation gap is East Asia because of the translation problem. It's actually a little bit ridiculous. You don't hear a lot about, but you see their artwork and stuff, but you don't hear a lot about them just because of the mere fact that they can't speak English.
Nanook can speak English.
Well, not all of them. I'm saying a lot of them, or a lot of the people. It's like going to France, man. You're gonna see people that they literally don't want to speak English.
Yeah, I want to make a small announcement quickly, just in respect to the podcast itself. We're running for 2 hours. For those of you who haven't known, we've got our 9:34 minute mark. What I do want to do is that I just want to take a I want to take a quick break. I want to say thank you to the people who are listening to us for now. We'll thank you again in half an hour. But yeah, for the people who are listening right now, Green Reaper, obviously, thank you very much, Uncle Kage, for being on the show. We really, really do appreciate your attendance.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
An hour and a half in, but yeah.
Yeah, Fernix, Kurok, Rocket Dog, Victor, Ravensong, Kane, Rakuin, Cuddlewolf, Pinstripe, Yote Fox, Schloppy, I hope I said that right, Tiger Night Eye, Lurigo, Arashi, Tox, Nanook, Leeward, Genzo, Green Reaper, also everybody else who's listening to us on Furry FM. Thank you so much for having a listen to us on this podcast. We really, really, really do appreciate you guys listening to us. If you guys haven't or sort of popped in about halfway through, we are posting this onto YouTube as soon as we possibly can. We'll put that onto our Tumblr site, which is south-afrifur. Twitter will also we'll auto-proc that. We'll make sure that anybody who has missed this or missed half of it, again, putting it onto YouTube, please have a listen to us. We're very, very thankful that you guys are listening to us. We're very, very, very happy that Uncle Kage decided to join us this evening. So yeah, German furs, Austrian furs, European furs, guys. Thank you so much for having a listen. We know that it's a rough time up that side at this point. So yeah, thanks again for listening to us. But the thing is that we're going to carry on for the next half hour, and yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Unpru, did you have a point?
I didn't say anything.
Go.
My question that I actually wanted to ask right now is in regards with a panel that I saw, and that's why I said that Uncle Kage is such a good speaker, is because I saw a panel, somebody posted it on YouTube. I don't know if I'm actually supposed to actually mention all the stuff that people post on YouTube, but I think this was from renowned furry. Well, not renowned, but the guy that does most of the panel's recordings. And he did a panel about something in regards of a science topic. And I was amazed because I was listening to this thing and it didn't seem like a furry panel at all. And it was in regards of homeopathy and the pharmaceuticals. And I was like, this room is filled with furries. And I'm like, why are they listening to this guy talking about this? What initiated that?
It was originally initiated because I was at a convention and there was a very, very popular object that people had on. They had on a magnetic bracelet, which they claimed was curing their carpal tunnel and their sore throats and their herpes and their incontinence and everything. Mm-hmm. And I started it as a public service announcement, and it sort of grew from there.
Okay, I get that, because it's just strange that the whole room is just full with furries and they're listening to you. This is almost like a lecture on pharmaceuticals, and I'm like, what? And
Well, it
obviously
is.
about the panel was called pseudoscience. That's what it was
It's called
I think.
science, pseudoscience, and outright crap.
Yeah, well, pseudoscience is outright crap in my personal opinion, but let's not rather go there. Some people actually still believe that, and I don't want to. But yeah, it was just strange to see that happening, and it shows what a impact you have inside it, that people would actually go and listen to something that is completely unrelated just because you are a good speaker. And this is what started the thing is you complained about your boss at the furry convention, and then all of a sudden you have 100 or something people listening to you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I still don't understand it. I just make noise with my face, and it goes into your ear holes, and for some reason you like it. It's very strange to me.
But it works for some reason. It works.
Okay, well, whatever works for you. I'm glad to do it, I guess.
It's obviously a lot of people say it works because they would go and listen to that panel. So it's something strange. And this goes on to the story hour, because I've noticed that the story hour has Foxamur on playing like a musical piece and everything while you're actually talking. And that actually impresses me, because I've actually worked in the music industry before, and just the way that that is collaborated, it must be actually quite a difficult thing to pull off, to have everybody work together in an environment like that and talk. I wanted to ask, how did that actually start, the music story thing?
Well, I'll start off by telling you it really is not difficult at all, simply because of the sheer genius of Foxamore and the amount of talent he has for picking up on subtleties in speech and converting them to music.
And he does that instantly.
Well, exactly. He's very, very talented. It started as a lark a couple of years ago. I seem to recall it was a charity show that To the Ranting Griffin and I were doing, and I'm not sure how it came about. I imagine that maybe Fox had been performing just ahead of us, and when we got on stage, we were already 3 sheets to the wind and said, "Why don't you just stay up here? You might as well stay." And we sort of likened it to an old silent movie where the pianist would have to keep up with the action and make sure that the music was appropriate for what was going on the screen. And he did a great job, and I was captivated by it, so I asked him if he would experimentally, let's try this, if you want to do a backup for my story hour. We first tried it down in Florida, and it worked really well. So anytime I'm able to, if he's around, I like to have him give that musical accompaniment.
So that will continue.
I'm sorry?
So that will continue as long as he's there.
It'll continue as long as people keep enjoying it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because it is fun and funny at the same time. Listening to that, it really is. Not to mention, like I said, Foxamur is obviously a great musician, but for those guys that missed out, I think if the Patreon supporters of Uncle Kage's wine stream will get a special wine stream. Well, if I'm not mistaken,
I'm doing the sober stream for my Patreon supporters. That's an interim one. The stream with Foxamore in December, that's going to be broadcast to anybody who wants to watch it. Although, if you do want to donate, we're not going to stop you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. So donate in anyways. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, because I know Uncle Kage is
look,
basically going to keep
again,
doing this.
is for the South African furs, the lowest donation is $1, right?
Hmm.
I think so, something
I
like.
mean
Actually, I don't think there is a
14
minimum
rand.
donation.
The thing is that like 14 rand a month. Those of you who are working, those of you who would like to support people, who would like to say, "Cool, I'm going to donate for somebody else." Is there a specific email or something that they could send to say, "Cool, I'm donating $2, but one of my dollars is going to a fur that I would like you to invite to this at all to your sober stream, or any of your Patreon and invite things." Is there something that you could possibly do for them?
That gets a little bit tricky
Yeah.
because if someone says, I'm donating $1 to get, I don't know, Jesse Helms onto the show here, what happens if I don't get enough money to get him onto the show?
Yes.
It's not about getting them on the show. It's about getting them to be invited to listen.
I think it's
everyone's invited to listen.
I think there's some crossed wires there. Like,
the show is free.
yeah, like I think Ivik means like if one person donates like let's say $5, but he's donating for himself and for someone else who doesn't necessarily have like whatever a credit card or something.
It's
A school student.
Yeah, that's the thing you're talking about, right, Ivik?
Yeah.
Okay.
A school student.
I guess it's all right. I never actually thought about it too much. I just want to drink stuff. But yeah, if they wanted to, basically there's going to be a link that will be sent out to the Patreon donors, and it'll be just going to them. But if they're donating on behalf of somebody else, in that instance, I will say it's okay. Yeah, you can give that person the link.
All right.
Yeah, because I do like the business model you have going on. It's just like blah blah blah, money and recognition, please.
That's pretty much what it is. I will put you put money in here. I will put alcohol in my face, and noise will come out. That's the deal.
If you enjoy
Yes.
noise, give more money.
Yes.
And that's what people want to see. They want to see Uncle Kage make noise
Yeah.
while putting wine in his face.
But yeah, that's cool.
So there we are.
Talking of which, is I actually wanted to ask you. I've actually watched some of the convention wipeout panels, and seeing that we're planning on starting the first bigger, more organized furry meetups, I wanted to ask which one of those convention wipeouts would you categorize as the one that was the worst? If you're allowed to talk about that. The worst one that was the most stressful and how it actually went down.
Are you talking about just my convention or any of them?
Let's say any of them, rather, because when it's internal, it's a little bit difficult to always say, yeah, you know what, it's... because
but
sometimes...
in the same sense, it's also difficult to say things externally because... in as much as, say, some of the other people have said, when it comes to between different websites, you can't necessarily talk badly of the other one because...
It depends. You don't need to mention the convention name.
Well,
but they'll definitely know what they're talking about.
It's not really a great secret. Probably the greatest convention wipeout, and let's not use the word wipeout. Wipeout makes it sound like something was done wrong. The greatest convention tragedy happened just about a year ago at Midwest Fur Fest in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That was the one where some numbnuts thought it would be funny to basically make a bottle bomb made of pool chemicals. As my own personal hypothesis is the person didn't intend any harm, but as most often happens with numbnuts harm came, and he was too stupid to realize that this is going to put out toxic vapors. and it did send 19 people to the hospital, and it disrupted the convention rather soundly. We had to evacuate the hotel into the cold night, and we didn't get the all clear until the very, very wee hours of the morning.
Mm.
Yeah, that one I won't call a wipeout because I've read about that one. That one is a tragedy. A tragedy.
That goes beyond wipeout.
Yeah.
Kinkin Zade actually asks, he's got a very, very special request. When we do manage to, or when our wine does manage to sort of make it to your borders and into your hands,
and into your face eventually,
would you please be able to sort of like do a quick little tasting and your opinion of it?
I could even turn on my cheap little webcam and do it and send it to you so you can see what I think.
Yay!
Well, I will warn you. I will. It'll be candid. I will tell you exactly what I think. If the stuff tastes like the devil's anus, I'm going to tell you it tastes like the devil's anus.
That's the thing. I'm just warning you guys.
Yeah, we expect nothing but honesty
that is exactly what we need to hear.
Mm. Yeah, but
Scratch, before we do that, we might want to actually buy a bottle, taste it first, and then buy a bottle and send it. Yeah. I think that would be
Scratch really isn't the biggest wine drinker around here. Maybe just send it my way.
I'll find someone who knows what they're doing.
Scratch, actually, you know what? Very, very little known fur from Cape Town, actually.
I know who you're referencing.
Yeah, exactly. Go to Z.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually a winemaker. She'll be able to figure out whether your wine is good or not.
Mm. Yeah, no, I'll do something.
Mm. Otherwise, tell me the name of the wine and I'll taste it myself.
No, sure. I'm obviously not sending him like Robertson box wine, but actually I might as well. I'll send a box of late harvest.
No. Make it the Namakwa brand, Namakwa Stein, slightly sweet.
Okay, fine. I'll send that and Robertson. Because, I mean, Bohemia Nights, bro.
We just talked about furries in the public. I wanted to ask Uncle Kage, you've been at SunnyCon, I think it was last year or this year?
Yes, just a few months ago.
And something happened there that the person that was supposed to do what you did didn't show up, or I don't know what happened there, and then you had to take over that role.
They had two luminary guests. They're two A-listers. They were voice actors who have done voices for anime series. And it was pretty obvious I was the B-lister. Now, that's okay. That's fine. I'm in the business. I know how these things work. The people at SunnyCon are going to see the voice actors. They're not going to see me. I'm something that's there. It's like, hey, let's try something different and have something for furries. But I arrived on a Friday morning and was told that one of the guests, the gentleman who was going to be there Friday and Saturday, had canceled. So at least for Friday, until the second luminary guest arrived on Saturday, I was the guest. So since the anime conventions tend to be a lot more focused on presentations by the guests, they were sort of at a loss. So I said, well, put me up in front of people. I'll make noise with the face. Just make sure I got something in my hand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I did my best. And I was pleased that the crowd expanded as the afternoon went on. And I went back to my hotel room, and I came back the next morning, and I was met by a staff member who had a colossal Cheshire grin on his face. I have seen this grin before. I've seen it on my own face at Anthrocon. It is the face of a person who is just barely holding on to the ragged edges of sanity. And I said, uh-oh, what's wrong? And he said, through his clenched teeth, the other guest canceled too. You're it.
Ooh.
So I became the guest at SunnyCon this past year, and I take that role very seriously. a guest is not somebody who goes and sits by the pool all afternoon. If I'm going to be a guest at a convention, that means the convention is paying for me to be there, and I have an obligation to make sure they get their money's worth. And I like to think that I succeeded in that, because when I came home on Monday, it was only 48 hours later I had the invitation to go back next year. So I shall be at SunnyCon in 2016.
Ooh,
So
wow.
so they invited you again as guest of honor just because
Yes,
of that.
I guess, or maybe because I don't know. I don't remember trying to blackmail them or something, but I don't remember a lot about it. You know, I might have.
It seems like the face noises just sort of worked again.
I guess they do. But trust me, they can sometimes get you into trouble.
Yeah, it can, especially when there's too much wine involved.
And there's a camera nearby, which with me there tends to be a lot.
Yes, that's the thing about PR, and we're all still very scared of that. When we see cameras, and we run away.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I don't think we should be that afraid of cameras anymore. I think that it's important that we start showing that we do exist.
Yeah, but you need speakers for that. You need to be. You need
We
to have
have
somebody.
speakers. We have them.
Yeah.
3 very good ones at this point that I can think of right now.
Put them out front.
Oh, geez.
Oh boy.
Just
Yeah.
don't put too much booze into them so that you can still monitor what they're saying. And if they start to sway, just put them to bed. If they wake up with bobbleless, that's their problem.
Oh, you said bubble house. That's amazing. Well done.
Nice.
Moving on.
No, not moving on. Uncle Kage asked you a question. Put them up
He did?
front.
I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
Put them up front.
Yeah.
Put them up front.
Well, look,
if you got speakers,
honestly, like the thing is that if somebody does ask me about this kind of stuff, I will be there.
good.
I'm.
Okay.
Carry on.
I don't necessarily intend to shy away from this kind of stuff. I don't intend to. Granted, look, I mean, you will hear me probably burble for the best part of the first 2 minutes of the interview. But the thing is that somebody just needs to slap me very hard in the back, possibly, and I will go, cool. Okay, got this. Let's go.
Yeah, usually that's me. Like, it used to be me, at least for a long time.
Look, we have a strong community. I think we have a very, very strong community. I think that it's important for those of us who are listening from South Africa, vote of confidence. Not that it really matters from my side, but the thing is that I believe that we can do better. And for that matter, we will do better. And we just need to push it.
Yeah, well, push it the way that it's still
Yeah.
a fun thing to like. Like, for example, it is a furry community. It's not something that you take as you go to work on a Monday.
Yeah.
Most people forget that, like, okay, we've just had fur meet or something like that. You go to work on a Monday and you're a human being because that comes first. Your finances comes first. Your life comes first. Your health comes first. But you still do things for fun.
No, exactly. The thing is that that's the entire thing. I mean, if and when we do appreciate or appear in the media, and I mean we have actually appeared in the media more than
I know
what,
more than
3
I know,
times?
definitely.
I mean, like proper media. I'm talking about proper media. I've seen pictures of furries at the Cape Town Pride March. I've seen furries at
Rage.
Icon. Yes, I've seen furries at Rage for the past 3 damn years. It's time that we start taking that into account and start saying, "Hey, we exist. We're just like you, but we're just a little bit different. We complain about the same things."
It's the moment that somebody shoves a camera in your face and says, "What is this all about?" That is the 3 speakers that you just was supposed to mention job to be able to handle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless we can train the rest. Like actually
It's not
train.
about training anybody. It's just about feeling it.
No, I don't think Yote. I just read you. Why are SA so afraid of media? I don't think it's just SA. That's everywhere. It's not that they're afraid of the media, but it's because people are afraid of doing
Change.
what happened before.
Being
Yeah,
happy.
Yeah, and I think Uncle Kage can attest to what can happen when someone says the wrong thing.
Oh, God. I have more examples of people saying the wrong thing than of people saying the not wrong thing, believe me.
Yeah, I mean, you had a whole like panel discussion about that, like about furries
I
and
could
media and how to handle it.
Given enough time and enough thought, I could probably do an entire hour-long presentation on just things people have said that have set us back.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Like the various people who've gone on to talk shows.
Yes, I know exactly what you're referencing, and yeah, a lot of other things. But we're not mentioning any names. We're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is the thing. Is it's unfortunately is I know Uncle Kage said this, and I will repeat it. Is that when the cameras come in and whatnot, the sensical guys don't respond, and then they find that guy that wants to respond, and that guy is not necessarily the guy that the community wants to have responding.
Yeah. That one eager beaver can throw like all the work that's been done to keep the image a certain way under the bus.
Yeah.
And they have.
But go.
One of the temptations that people have, the media has treated furries rather shabbily in the past, and the public image is still, not recovered from the early days. Now, you will find a tendency among folks, if the camera gets shoved in their face, the immediate thought in their mind is, I must defend the fandom. I will save everyone. I'm going to be the person who will save the fandom. I am its defender. Now's my chance. You don't need to defend us from anything.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that, and as soon as the camera starts rolling and the person says, what is all this? They blurt out, we're not sex maniacs. We don't screw animals.
Yep.
Oh, you're laughing?
Obvious.
Oh, yes. Well, isn't Uncle Kage funny today? Say that!
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When is it going to become old news? When is it actually gonna, or is it already there? Because
It's already there.
People,
It's already there in the first world countries. It's already there.
I've met with people, and everybody knows that I'm talking about 50 to more to 60, 70 people. Everybody is putting me in the spotlight, and everybody is just like, that's cool. Actually, you're pretty boring, or not boring, but it's something that that people understand. You're at these things, and I'm not even the weirdest person there. I'm a fan of cartoon animals. The second guy is a fan of some stuff I won't mention.
Hashtag not going to mention that.
Yeah.
So why is it that people tend to still hang on, especially inside the community, that there is this bad image? I know there has been in the past, but it has become old news, and people have moved on, right? I mean, it's 2015 right now. We don't really care about what people like or do.
Look, I mean, I'm going to put this out there. Today I read an article from South Africa, from Johannesburg recently. There were two Presbyterian ministers who have been charged and prosecuted for marrying, same-sex couples, even though we've had that law for goodness knows how long. the Presbyterian Church came out and said, no, you guys are being prosecuted for this. You probably won't be part of the clergy anymore. That's bull. I mean, that's absolute bull. But the thing is that where does it stop? Where do we start creating an area where... No. Like, all I'm saying is that where do we start creating an area where everybody is accepted, except for, like, the most heinous of crimes? Murder is on this list. There's a large amount of things that are on that list of the most heinous of crimes. But the thing is that, I mean, when do we start just going, you know, and where do you draw that line? This is something I was saying last week as well. Where can you and will you be able to draw that line and go, fine, you know what, everything is accepted up until this point, screw everything else.
You're describing Shangri-La, my dear boy, and we're never going to get there, I'm afraid. Human nature will prevent it.
Yes, there's cultures and there's stuff. People, the moment people don't like something, they, depending to what level, if they start building communities of not liking something, you get a thing called hate, right? Like the whole concept of people not liking something, right? Even though it doesn't affect them directly. I mean, for example, I have music artists I don't like that is hitting mainstream popularity, and I'm like, I don't like this guy's music, but I just said, okay, then I don't listen to it. I don't have to listen to it. Other people will go and post on social media and say, you know what, this is terrible. I don't know why they do this. This guy can't sing, or this guy can't DJ, or this guy can't he can't play piano, or he can't write keys or chords or whatnot. Yeah. The same with film or anything, right? Yeah. And they would attack them, but you don't have to listen to it, or you don't have to watch it. You just turn it off and go away and go into your own direction.
I don't understand.
Don't subscribe.
Yeah, the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is ambivalence. Like, exactly. It's just, you're still paying it attention. It just has a different timbre now.
But my point is that this attention that is actually a thing from the inside of the community, from our community, than it is from the outside. I have to admit that I think that people in the furry fandom expect worse responses than they're actually going to get.
Maybe.
Then they're actually going to get, because it's something old. It's something that has been in existence since the 1980s, and I mean, electronic music hasn't even been around that long, and look where that is now, right? So there are people that just think like it's this thing that people are not going to like us for. Why? Why are people like that? Maybe it's because it's a little bit different from what they normally do.
Look, the thing is that if that's the case, and we're talking about this norm that is apparently proliferating throughout all the non-furries, and again, I'm saying this quite sarcastically, how many people like specific kinds of anime, specific kinds of, you know, things that they see on specific websites? It's not... The thing is that they want to be able, and because it is such an easy target, it is a very, very easy target. Furry is possibly one of the easiest targets out there.
Because of the history.
Because of the history, because of what's happened, because of specific ideals that people have connected to it.
And sometimes
you want to put something like that. Just hear me out for about 2 seconds. All right. Like, it's an easy target specifically because it is so niche to many people that, oh, I can like all of these things, but these people are abhorrent.
I don't understand that. I really don't. Like I said,
it's not about being understood. It's not about being anything like that. It's because people need something to hate sometimes. Because
Yeah, but even if they hate, then what is the worst thing that can happen there? Unless it's
you can
fundamentalists that would
ask
bomb
that
you for
question. You can ask that question. Ask that question to anybody in a semi-conservative household, and tell them, "No, that's great," and they're going to tell you, "Get the fuck out of my house," because you don't belong here, because you're different, and because frankly, you're easy to be different towards.
That is the key right there. Now, you're trying to think of this from the standpoint of a civilized thinking human being. You're very, very rare. Human nature is very xenophobic. This goes back to the ancient days when our tribe had to worry about the other tribe on the other side of the hill. Anything that is not us, that is unusual to us, that is alien to us, that is different from us, has a tendency to elicit a negative reaction. You want an example? Go to the next football game. How do the fans from this team view the fans from that team?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I understand that.
It's two normal people wearing two different colors, and the one going, "Oh, fuck that guy."
We like othering people.
My opinion is
as much as we want to be social, we want to be social within a specific group.
My opinion is that the fandom is so diverse, and that is actually maybe one of the biggest things, is that when you regard PR involved with it, is that the person telling his story is not necessarily why everybody is there, right? That's the problem. But when you're thinking about the concept of like a cartoon animal character, I mean, this dates back to some of the oldest art that we've seen in the world.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is that inasmuch as sexuality has gone from being accepted for what it was back in the day, I mean, look at Alexander, look at many, many other people, and look at from the point of around about maybe the 12,000s forward, absolutely not. Cannot accept it. Cannot accept that kind of bullshit, because no, that does not exist. This is not how people are supposed to exist, because this tells us not to do that.
Supposed to exist, but
supposed to. That's the thing. People you will take the majority moniker as much as possible. It's not going to change things. It's not going to be able to do anything. The only thing that you can do is meter the response. Make sure that the response is, hey, look at the Young Turks. I mean, Anna Kasparian, or whatever her name is. I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to be able to say this. They had a bit about furries at one point. Those of you who haven't seen it, have a look. Anna Kasparian has been out there. She actually said, you know what, I wouldn't mind dating somebody like that. That is the kind of response we need. You know, oh, it's kind of weird, but they're still people.
Yeah. No, it's something that's probably it boggles my mind, because I'm a really relaxed person about stuff that is different to me. I don't know why. It's just the way I probably am. It's when somebody tells me, and I know you and Uncle Kage had this conversation about bronies, saying that I don't like bronies.
You hate bronies.
I don't hate bronies. I just don't like the show. I just don't like the show. The show has no appeal to me, right? If somebody else likes the show, great.
I can agree with you on that. It's fine.
So,
I just like giving you shit for it.
Yeah, I know. It's just
you
because I said
because you guys give me shit for liking it, bitch. Come on.
Uncle Kage, you should see these guys. They give me so much shit about it that they actually started drawing my furry character as
No. These guys do not put Scratch into that category.
These guys, the other people.
I am the only person who had you being drawn as a fucking brony.
These guys are the other people. It's you and the other people.
Okay, you and the other people.
Like Ivic and the other people.
Oh, now, boys, don't fight.
I actually looked at it and I was like, and you can recall, I was like, that is actually very well drawn. Remember?
You're bloody welcome.
So, don't say I don't like bronies. I just don't like the show. It's a very strange show for me. I just can't find appeal in it, and so obviously some other people will. It's like the same way I can't find appeal in some music or some movies.
You are
It's not an
making me
internal fight.
extremely proud, my dear boy.
Raccoon
I'm
says
glad
that
to
this
hear
is
you
an
say
internal
that.
fight. It's not anything like that. One of the things is that, like, I mean, it's both us connecting to him, we're connecting with him, and it's important that we do this. But one of the things that I do want to say about brownies, and what I do want to say about that entire thing, and especially friendship is magic, is that it brings pretty much the most innocent perspective of the fact that, you know what, your differences aren't as big as they should be, or as big as you think they are. We're different because we're different people. You're a different person from I am. Scratch is a different person from I am. Uncle Kage is completely a different person from all three of us. But
Damn right.
the thing is that, like,
Damn right.
we exist amongst one another. We're sitting in the same internet room as one another, talking to a larger internet room of goodness knows how many people, and people can both agree and disagree with us, and that's it.
But yes, again, bringing back to Uncle Kage's statement that he said earlier, probably almost maybe 40 minutes ago, is that thing with the guys in the Middle East. Where else would you see that than in the furry fandom?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where else would you be able to find that?
But that is something that you're touching on it now. Furries have shown themselves to be tolerant. They've shown themselves to be accepting, possibly because they know what it's like to be on the other end, which is why I tend to react extremely strongly to furries that make sneering, snide comments about bronies. You know, Anpu said it absolutely beautifully. He doesn't hate bronies. He just doesn't like the show, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. The ones that piss me off are the ones that as soon as you mention bronies or My Little Pony, they roll their eyes and they groan, oh. And
Scratch.
As soon as I hear that, I stop. And I say, now, wait a minute. Let me make sure I understand your point of view. You don't like bronies because they're into something that you think is childish and you don't understand it, and that makes them losers. Is that familiar to you, Fluffy?
No, it's the best when you say that to a furry. Obviously, it would be the best.
Yeah.
You know, it's something people like. I mean, who cares? It's what they do. It's what they like.
Yeah. I just don't get the show. Like, I don't understand it.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. Why was I placed in the spotlight about that?
Because you place
You know,
yourself there.
honestly, the issue is that it may be too childish for you, in a sense, in that, like, you may have lost a little bit of that innocence, in that, like, something like that wouldn't necessarily make you feel the same way that a large amount of the other people do feel about, in that, you know, in as much as we're different, we can still fix what is necessary.
Yeah, everybody is different in any way. I mean, I'm part of another fandom that you guys know nothing about. Well, not nothing about. I mentioned the roller coaster stuff, right? I think it's obviously inside something else that we don't like, or not like, but the actual concept of it. But we're still friends, and nobody
Exactly.
cares.
You are free to examine your own everything. Do it. Find out about it. Don't feel too judged about it, unless it's a heinous crime. Like, seriously, that's about it.
That's the thing about the concept is I think like that, but obviously when we talked about when is it going to be that everybody is accepted, and why is America so behind, seeing that our country had that law like for the last how many years? Why only now that they took the last states and said, okay, that marriage is legal now?
Unpu?
Hmm?
Unpu, the reason being is that like our country bent to our country's needs for once, and probably for the only time
Okay.
since.
I would actually explain to you the primary reason for it. Actually, it's about the immense amount of different cultures that you get here, and languages, and stuff. I mean, we have how many official languages?
11.
Official languages.
We have 11 official languages.
Technically 12 if you add sign language. I'm going to talk about that again because sign language should be a language that is accepted within South Africa as an official language.
Yeah.
Moving on.
It's just, yeah. Official documents
Yeah,
probably printed in sign language.
except if Elton Yankees is doing it, and I'm allowed to say his name out loud because he was next to the President of the United States, Barack Obama, freaking gesturing nonsense during Mandela's memorial.
Is his name
Yeah,
Elton
way to go.
Yankees? Because that's a rugby player.
Yeah, Elton Jenkins is a rugby player.
No man, Elton. No, what was his? It was Yankees something. Yankees.
I'll check it out.
Check it out.
Mm.
Uncle Kage, did you see that thing?
Oh yes, that was fairly big news here in the States.
I can believe
simply
so.
because we tend to have this illusion that the United States Secret Service has this impenetrable barrier around our president, and the fact that this schmuck got up and stood within 20 feet of him, oh well, yeah, that was big news here.
Yeah, I can
That
imagine.
was the funniest thing I've ever seen on TV. I was like, can our government make even a bigger mistake than that? I was in Cape Town at the time. I actually lived there for 2 years. I live in Johannesburg now, and I was just it was a topic running around for about a month with me that I just every discussion that comes up, I would joke with people in fake sign language just to show how ridiculously stupid that really was. To think that nobody in the world is actually listening and would catch you out.
Yeah. Tamsenka Yankees. Or Yankees.
Tamsenkla Yankees. Okay. Sorry. Why did I say Elton Yankees?
He's
Sorry.
a rugby player.
Because rugby players are in your head, man. You just love those rugby players, you straight man, you.
They're in your brain.
Yeah. No, but that guy is, yeah, no, I can't even discuss that anymore because he was next to like almost all the world leaders.
Yeah, that was just weird.
Elton Yankees, the rugby player, just randomly signing because goodness knows why he would be able to do that.
It's just my brain. I just referenced Elton Yankees for some reason. I don't know why.
Anyway, we're getting on. What's it?
2.5 hours now.
2.5 hours now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's
okay,
about time we start wrapping up.
one of the things that I constantly sort of ask all of our other guests is that, is there ever a chance that we'd be able to have you on again at some point?
Yeah, especially if you send me that wine.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So we have our bribe. So everybody from South Africa and from Europe and everywhere else, please note that at some point Uncle Kage will be on our south-afrifur stream again. This is not the end of the south-afrifur stream.
Yeah.
We were building towards something. Am I doing that again?
You're back now. You're back.
Am I back now? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Any case, we were building towards something, and that something was Uncle Kage. It was important, I guess, to us that we do get him because he's such an amazing person. He's one of the most amazing people around. And being able to speak to him, being able to speak around him being able to listen to his perspective was important for us so that we could actually move forward. Those of you who are listening, it's nice, I think, and that's a massive understatement.
No, really,
to
go
be
on. I want more of this.
Hey?
Go on. I want to hear more of this.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
It's making me blush,
it's
really.
Awesome. Okay, fine. Let's talk about the word awesome. It's lekker. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's
Lonnie, it's sweet.
Lonnie, it's every single Afrikaans superlative that we could use to be able to have somebody as influential, as open-minded,
and as tolerant and loud at the same time.
Exactly. About who we are to be on the podcast. And again, like, we would extend the invitation. Let us know when and where and why, or not even why, just let us know when and where. Hey, we want to talk about this or that or whatever. Then, we're more than open to it, if you're open to it.
Oh, how about right now?
I have work in the morning.
It's getting quite late for South Africa. It's about 10:24 right now. Most of us have tomorrow, out of the three of us who are awake. And I mean, like, we really, really appreciate your attendance and everything that you've done for the furry fandom. Everything that you've said, everything that, like, experienced, I guess. And we really do appreciate that, I guess, to a large extent, that you exist. That there is a person like you out there who is as big as you are, without being bigger.
I've been trying to lose weight, for God's sake.
I think.
Sorry, I couldn't stop laughing at that one.
Well, you gentlemen you're very, very kind, but please, I'm just a guy who does what he can. I'm not great. I'm not lekker. I'm not braai. I just do what needs to be done.
Yes.
I'm going to say this, but I mean, like, out of the three of us, at least one of us aspires to practically being you.
Start drinking until your liver weighs 40 pounds. Then you'll be me.
I'm getting there.
Yes.
Yeah, he's getting there.
No, don't give Ivik alcohol. He turns into a complete crazy person.
No, I just
wrestling other furries.
He was more than willing to wrestle. Okay.
So, is that what you told the prosecutor?
Yes.
Actually, I do want to interject something. I know you fellows are getting tired, but we were talking a while back about the three voices that might be raised in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Those three voices, before they are raised, need to get formal training in media relations.
I know that.
Because it is a trick. And the media will do its best to get information out of you, and you won't even know that they're doing it. For example, do you fellas know what time it is here in the U.S.?
3:27 p.m.
No! Do you know what time it is here in the U.S.? Yes! You know what time it is here in the U.S. You just volunteered information to me. Now, that is a very simplistic example, but that's exactly the sort of thing the media will do to try to get you to say stuff you don't want to say.
Fair point.
Get that drink, eat it.
Wow.
Okay, so when are we going for formal media training, guys?
I think that any time that Mr. Dr. Conway is free, I think he can give us media training. All three of us will subscribe to your Patreon.
That works for me.
Yeah, we'll keep throwing money.
Any case, guys, have a look at Uncle Kage's Patreon. Uncle Kage, what is your Patreon's name?
Uncle Kage.
Cool.
Okay, there you go. Uncle
All one
Kage's
word.
Patreon. Have a look at that. Support him.
Also, we have to mention the
and
other.
his wine drinking abilities. Listen to his wine stream. It is possibly one of the most hilarious things out there.
We also need to mention the other Patreons, the Furry FM Patreon and the First Stream Patreon,
Yes.
both of whom are amazing for hosting us and having us on and promoting what we're doing. Thank you guys, and we'll try and send a few people with a few bucks your way.
Yeah. And once again, thank you to the people who are listening to us. Green Reaper, Fernix, Kurok, Rocket Raccoon, Dog, which is actually one of Kyle Gold's, not Kyle Gold, Tempo's newest creations as well. Victor, Ravensong, Kane, Raccoon, Cuddlewolf, Pinstripe, Tiger Night Eye, Larigo, Tenzo, Green Reaper, Kinkenzede, Yote Fox, Foxlight, Glitch, Tox, Yukon. There are a couple of people who've either dropped out or not chatting anymore. Again, Furry FM, those of you who are listening, I know that there are about 3 or 4 of you who were listening. 2 of them being Siren Leo and Dan Leo, not related. But good friends nonetheless. Who have been listening from the Furry FM side. Those of you who guys, if you ever want to listen or if you ever want to just chat, listen on Furry FM, come to https, //fur/stream/south-afrifur/pop-out chat. Chat here.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again?
Yeah,
No.
just put that in the YouTube link because that was
We'll put that
horrible.
into the YouTube link. Those of you who have not followed us on the YouTube link yet, it's YouTube/C/south-afrifur.
Just Google it. You'll find it.
Just Google it. We'll be there. I'm pretty sure. I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, and otherwise, follow Uncle Kage wherever he goes. Don't stalk him. I'm not necessarily.
Yes, please
Uncle
don't.
Kage, do you like stalking?
Support his work.
Support his work, yes.
Yeah. Because following is such a weird thing. Like, follow me on Twitter. That's so weird. It's stalkerish.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Tumblr. We're also south-afrifur there.
Don't be creepy about it.
Just don't be creepy about it. We're not creepy enough yet.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
No, we won't.
Eventually. All right. Uncle Kage, any last words from your side?
Last words? Yes. Coin, hat, telephone, nipple ring, and zipper.
Are you just saying things that are around the room right now?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm not
right now,
actually.
because I'm
No, I
curious.
just we're out of time then, aren't we?
Yeah, yes. It's about time.
Well, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. It was quite an honor and a pleasure to join you here, and I would be pleased to join you again sometime.
Cool. We would definitely be honored to have you on again. It would be amazing.
Now, the honor will be mine, sir.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for listening in. We are going to sign off.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.